She had been looking for a quiet change in her life for a long time. Not a big change, not a loud one, just something calm and steady her. Days were busy and heavy, and her mind often felt tired. She wanted something that moved at a slower pace, something that asked her to breathe and notice the world again. That was how the idea of a trail horse entered her life. Not a champion, not a fast runner, not a show. Animal, just a horse that could walk with her through open paths and silent mornings. She searched. For months, she visited small farms and dusty fields. She watched many horses walk past. Some were nervous, some were proud, some were clearly trained for things she did not want. She kept saying the same words again and again. You just need a calm one, something simple. Then one afternoon she saw the horse standing away from the others. It was not tall or flashy, its coat was plain, and its stance was relaxed while other horses shifted and called out. This one stood still. Still, its eyes followed everything quietly, not fearfully, not lazily, just aware. The owner spoke very little about its past. The horse had changed hands more than once. It had done some trail work. That was all anyone knew. No papers, no stories, no proud history, just a horse that needed a home. The price was low, and the expectations were lower. She walked closer, and the horse did not pull away, did not step forward either. It waited. That waiting felt strange to her. Most horses she had met either leaned in or backed off. This one simply watched her hands and her feet as if reading her. When she touched its neck, it did not flinch. Skin was warm and steady. She felt her shoulders drop without realizing it. For the first time that day, she felt calmed. Ride was quiet. No rush, no sudden moves. The horse followed the path without being guided much. It slowed when the ground changed. It lifted its feet carefully over stones. A bird flew up nearby. The horse paused, then continued. No jump, no panic. She smiled through the whole ride. This was exactly what she wanted, or so she thought. She bought the horse that same week. Friends asked questions she did not have answers for. Where did it come from? What was it trained for? Why was it so cheap? She only said the same thing each time. It feels right. At its new home, the horse settled in quickly. Some might say learned the routine in days. Where to stand, where to wait, when to move. It seemed to understand space and timing without being taught. She brushed it every evening. Those moments became her favorite part of the day. The horse stood quietly, never fidgeting. Its breathing stayed slow, and even sometimes it shifted its weight, as if listening to something far away. She talked to it about small things, about her day, about the weather, about nothing at all. The horse never reacted, yet she felt heard on the trails. The horse continued to surprise her in small ways. It adjusted its pace before she asked it, stopped at crossings without training cues. When another horse spooked nearby, it stayed calm, but alert, positioned perfectly without pushing forward or falling back. She laughed it off at first. Some horses are just smart, she told herself, but one morning something happened that stayed with her. We're on a narrow path with a steep drop on one side. She shifted her weight slightly by mistake. Before she could correct herself, the horse adjusted, not sharply, not roughly, just enough to keep balance. She had ridden before. She knew the difference between habit and awareness. This felt like awareness that night. She thought about it longer than she meant to. Where would a simple trail horse learn that still? She pushed the thought away. She did not want mystery. She wanted peace. Days turned into weeks. The horse trusted her, and she trusted her, and she trusted it. Moved together easily, almost as if they had known each other before. Riders began to notice. They watched the horse move. They commented on its posture and balance. They asked gentle questions. Shh, answered simply. It's just a trail horse. But inside she felt something shift. His small feeling, she could not name one. Evening, as the sun dropped low, she led the horse back to the stable. It stopped suddenly, not in it, in refusal. It stood still, ears forward, body ready. Distant sound echoed through the trees, too far for her to notice, too faint to matter, but the horse had heard it. Tanned. It was waiting in. That moment she realized something important. This horse was not just Comet, was trained to notice first and react. Later, she ran her hand along its neck and felt a quiet strength there, not the kind that demands attention, the kind that stays hidden. She whispered that everything was fine. Horse relaxed and followed her again that night. She lay awake longer than usual, thinking about quiet eyes and careful steps, about a past that did not speak but watched. She still believed she had bought a simple trail horse, but the idea did not sit the same anymore. Somewhere deep inside she felt if this horse was holding something back, not out of fear but out of habit, and without knowing it she had stepped into the beginning of a story much bigger than a peaceful ride. Weeks passed and the horse continued to reveal small surprises that she did not expect. It was not loud or obvious, but in quiet ways it showed it was more aware than any ordinary trail horse in ordinary rides. It would notice a branch leaning low or a rock hidden in the dirt and step over it carefully without her guidance. When birds or squirrels moved nearby, it remained calm but alert, as if reading the space around the mat. First she thought it was luck or habit, but slowly she began to realize the horse was watching everything. One morning she rode along a path she had taken many times before. The horse suddenly slowed before a small rise in the trail. She looked ahead and saw a weak branch ready to fall. If she had gone faster, it might have hit her or the horse. She paused and realized that, without knowing it, the horse had protected her. The thought stayed with her for days. She began to pay attention to the horse more closely, had learned how to move in sync with her body. When she leaned slightly one way, the horse shifted weight to balance. When she relaxed to it, never rushed or panicked. Everything it did seemed intentionally. At the stable it observed other horses in the same calm weight, never started fights or ran after them, but it noticed everything. If another horse became nervous, it would step carefully around them as if to avoid problems. She started to test its reactions quietly without giving commands. She would change her speed slightly or shift her weight, and the horse adjusted perfectly. It was not trained in those moves. She was sure this was something learned long ago, or maybe something deep. To the farm noticed how steady the horse was. They commented on its movements and balance, how it seemed to understand the rider before commands were given. She smiled and said simply, "It is a calm horse," but inside she felt a new kind of curiosity. One evening she decided to take a longer ride up a narrow path that climbed a small hill. The ground was uneven and stones scattered across the trail. Other horses she had ridden before had stumbled or needed guidance. This horse stepped carefully each time, adjusting weight perfectly. When the ground tilted sharply, it did not hesitate. It moved as if it knew exactly what was coming. She began to speak softly to the horse, not commands, but small words about the trail, the wind, and the air. It did not react outwardly, but seemed to respond in its posture and attention. She felt the connection deep in it. Was not a bond made in words, but in silent understanding. On one ride, a deer appeared suddenly by the edge of the path. Other horses would have jumped or run. The horse paused and watched. It did not move until she leaned forward slightly, signaling a safe approach. Together they passed the deer slowly, without a single misstep. She began to keep a small journal, not about the horse, but about what she felt. With the horse, the quietness, the awareness, the calm confidence. Every day she noticed new things. The stable at night, it would stand in perfect balance, sures forward, alert but relaxed at the same time. It observed the other horses and humans quietly, and moved only when necessary. Sometimes she would see a small twitch or shift and realize the horse was listening to sounds she could not hear. She told no one about these observations. She did not want to seem strange or boastful. She only felt the growing certainty that this horse was different from anything she had met before. During feeding, she noticed how it watched her hand movement. Sit did not rush or grab food. Eat waited patiently. Even when other horses pushed and shoved, the patience felt purposeful, not accidental. One afternoon she tried a small trail obstacle. Low fallen tree across the path. Other horses had jumped clumsily or refused to cross. This horse stopped before it touched the wood and stepped over in a smooth, controlled motion. No hesitation, no stumble. She felt a shiver of surprise. It became clear that the horse had knowledge and skill that was hidden. It had been trained for more than just walking trails. She tried to imagine what it had been doing before it came to Her, was it a competition horse rescue trained animal? No, one knew she began to notice more subtle things, how it reacted to the wind when carrying her weight, how it positioned itself on inclines and declines, how it balanced naturally, even on slippery paths. Every ride was a quiet lesson in awareness. She began to trust it completely. Rides that once made her anxious now felt easy. The horse adjusted to every challenge without needing correction. The bond of trust grew stronger with every passing weeks. Sometimes she would dismount and walk beside it. Tit stayed close and attentive, not pulling ahead, not lagging behind it. Followed her pace with care and attention. As the days went on, she realized that she had grown in patience and observation as well. The horse had taught her without trying to notice small details, to adjust and balance, to trust quietly and fully. She began to understand why it had been calm with her from the start, was waiting for someone to notice its awareness, someone who would respect its abilities without forcing them in. With that understanding, she felt a quiet thrill to trail horse. She thought was simple was teaching her a lesson every day. She started to wonder if the horse's past life had been full of discipline and careful training. The moves and reactions were too precise to be random, the awareness too deep to be accidental. It had been hiding something that was waiting for the right person to see. That thought stayed with her as the sun dipped low. Sky painted in colors of quiet orange and soft pink. She patted the horse and whispered small words of thanks. The horse stood steady and calm. As always, the ride home was slow and reflective. Every step felt deliberate and measured. Every breath shared between them felt like a silent conversation. I should return to the stable and let it rest. She walked away. She felt a mixture of peace and curiosity. She had bought a trail horse, expecting calm and nothing more, but the horse had quietly shown her that there was more to notice, more to trust, more to discover. She slept that night thinking about quiet steps and careful eyes. And the secret the horse seemed to cherish, she decided it was time to ask for help from experienced trainers. She had grown curious about the horse and wanted to understand the subtle skills it had developed. She called a trainer who was known for working quietly and observing carefully. The trainer arrived one morning, and she led the horse to the open field. The horse moved calmly as always. No sign of excitement, no sign of fear, just steady attention to everything around. The trainer watched for a long time without saying much. He walked around the horse, tapping and touching lightly. The horse responded with balance and awareness that surprised her. Every small movement the trainer made was noted by the horse. It shifted weight smoothly and adjusted posture before she could even think of giving commands. After some tests, the trainer spoke. He explained that the horse had advanced training hidden under its calm exterior. Rights reactions were precise and deliberate. It had learned cues long before it came to her. The balance, the awareness, the subtle responses all pointed to a past life of intense listen. She listened closely. It explained that some horses were trained for competitions or high-level work and then ended up in quiet places for reasons unknown. Injuries, loss, or changes in life could have pushed them into ordinary roles that did not erase the skills they had learned. She felt a mix of surprise and respect. The horse she thought was simple was extraordinary. Its calm nature had hidden years of training. The trainer encouraged her to continue riding slowly and carefully to help the horse retain confidence. Over the next weeks, she worked closely with the trainer. She watched how the horse reacted to subtle shifts in weight or small cues. It was like watching a living instrument that responded perfectly to the smallest touch. The trainer praised the patience she had shown. The horse had chosen her to notice and respect its hidden abilities. During these sessions, the horse seemed to understand that nothing would be forced upon. It moved willingly with guidance, but never rushed. Every step felt natural, yet precise. Trainer also pointed out how rare it was to find such a horse without a documented past. Many horses with this level of skill were still in competition or reserved for elite riders. To find one waiting quietly for someone to notice was unusual. She felt a deepening connection. She began to see the horse not just as a companion, but as a teacher. It had lessons about patience, awareness, trust, and silent communication. One of the long rides after the training session, the horse showed new signs of awareness. It stopped before a tricky section of trail. She had not noticed the loose stones ahead. Horse shifted weight to avoid danger and waited for her to adjust. This was not just training. This was instinct refined by experience. Other riders at the farm noticed the change. They commented on the poise, the calm attention, and the quiet strength. She would only smile and continue her rides. The words did not matter. The horse spoke through action. At night when feeding, she observed the horse closely. It interacted gently with other horses. It never pushed or shoved, but maintained awareness of their movements. It seemed to predict behavior before it happened. She experimented with gentle obstacles along the trail's low branches, small logs, and narrow paths. The horse adjusted perfectly each time it stepped over carefully, without hesitation. She felt proud but also humbled. The horse was guiding her as much as she was guiding it. The trainer suggested she record observations, small details about reactions, movements, and responses. She kept a journal noting subtle changes each day. The patience and carefulness of the horse impressed her constantly. She began to understand the importance of respect in training. The horse had learned to trust without fear. It had learned precision without pressure. It had learned observation without rushing in quiet moments. She would stand beside the horse, feel its breathing, watch its eyes, notice how it shifted weight and read the space around it. Was a silent lesson in connection. The horse never demanded attention, but it commanded respect. Its calm confidence taught her to slow down, to notice the small details of the trail and the environment, to listen without speaking. Each ride became a new discovery. The horse reacted to weather changes, sounds of the forest, and movement in other animals. It showed awareness that was instinctive. In trance, she started to think about the horse's past life more deeply. Its hidden training suggested years of disciplined work. Perhaps it had been a competition horse, perhaps a rescue-trained animal. The details were lost, but the skills remained. She felt gratitude that the horse had chosen her. It had waited for someone who would notice and respect it. She realized that the calm exterior had been a test away to find a rider who would not force it, but observe and trust. The relationship between them grew stronger with each session. The horse and rider communicated without words. It was a dance of trust, patience, and awareness. A horse's hidden skills were slowly revealed in quiet ways. In daily routines, the horse demonstrated precision. Its steps in the stable were balanced, its reactions to sounds careful and thoughtful. Every movement was an indication of past learning and present awareness. Understood that this was not just a trail horse, it was a teacher of patience, awareness, and silent communication. Respected its hidden life and was grateful for the lessons it provided. The trainer encouraged her to continue observing and riding carefully. The horse responded to subtle cues and guidance without pressure. Together they moved as a team, respecting each other's pace and awareness. Every day she learned something new. The horse had become more than a companion. It was a partner, a guide, and a quiet teacher. She realized the importance of patience in training. The horse had been trained and disciplined, but now it waited for her to understand and respond. Had taught her to slow down, to notice the small details, and to trust. Silently, every ride was a lesson in observation and careful connection. The horse revealed more of its hidden skills. Slowly and deliberately had chosen her, and she honored that choices. She walked the horse back to the stable. Each evening she reflected on the day, on the small lessons learned, on the growing trust, on the hidden past that was slowly showing itself. The horse stood quietly in the stable, calm and alert, watched her without demanding attention. Its presence was a reminder of patience, awareness, and respect. She knew she had found something extraordinary, not just in skill, but in the quiet bond between horse and rider. The horse she thought was ordinary was teaching her lessons she would never forget. She started to notice more about the horse's past. As days passed, its movements and reactions held hints of life it had lived before. Small details like the way it balanced on narrow paths, the way it shifted weight carefully, the way it responded to subtle cues, all pointed to training beyond ordinary trail riding. She remembered the trainer's words and began to see the layers of discipline hidden in its calm nature. One morning she decided to explore an old trail that had been used years ago for competitions. Path was uneven and winding, with loose stones and hidden dips. The horse walked steadily, but she noticed a precision in each step, avoided hazards. Before she saw them, adjusted its speed and posture automatically. She realized that the horse had probably been trained for obstacles. Its body moved with awareness and anticipation. She wondered what kind of past it had had. Was it a competition horse, a rescue-trained horse? The traces of that life were hidden in its movements. The next few days she experimented with different challenges along the trails, small jumps, low fences, and narrow paths. The horse navigated them effortlessly. It responded to her body movements without hesitation. She could feel the intelligence and training beneath its calm exterior. The stable she watched how it interacted with other horses. It never pushed or competed for space, anticipated their movements, and adjusted accordingly. The trainer had been right. This was not ordinary. The horse had been taught to observe and react with precision. She started to research and ask quietly about the previous owners. No one knew exactly where it came from. Papers were missing, its history forgotten. The horse had been living quietly without recognition of its past skills. Every ride became a discovery, though. Horse revealed small hidden talents each day. Its awareness of terrain, other animals, and human movements was extraordinary. She began to understand that the horse had been waiting for someone who could notice and respect its past. She practiced gentle training to help it retain confidence. She did not push or demand, but observed and guided. The horse responded with trust and precision. She felt a deep bond growing stronger each day. One afternoon, as they rode along a steep path, she noticed the horse pause before a fallen branch. It adjusted its steps carefully before she could react. She felt a sense of gratitude. The horse was protecting her while showing skill. It was teaching her awareness and patience. At night she would reflect on the horse's hidden life. Its training had given it balance, awareness, and precision. The quiet strength it held was impressive. She realized she had found a companion that could teach without words. The horse seemed to sense when she needed reassurance. It adjusted its pace and posture according to her subtle shift. It had learned to read humans with care. This was a skill from its hidden past. Visitors noticed the difference. They commented on its calm attention and perfect balance. She simply watched quietly. She knew the truth. The horse was extraordinary. She experimented with small new tasks, changing the direction, quickly guiding through obstacles, and practicing slow, careful movements. The horse followed perfectly. It adapted to each challenge. With grace, she noticed that the horse retained memory of past training. Moves and responses were automatic yet controlled. It was not forced to perform. It acted from experience. The bond between them deepened. She felt the horse understood her movements and intentions without spoken words. She learned to trust its instincts. She felt safe and confident in its presence. Every ride became a lesson in observation. The horse taught her how to notice small details, how to adjust movements carefully and calmly, how to trust intuition. She started to imagine what the horse had been through years of training, followed by a quiet life removed from competition. Its past had prepared it for challenges, yet it had waited for someone to recognize its skills. She worked on developing small cues and responses, not to train the horse but to communicate more effectively. You'll learn quickly, yet calmly. It seemed to enjoy the attention and interaction. The horse's eyes reflected understanding. It held awareness of the environment, humans and other horses. Every movement was measured and deliberate. She realized that the past life of the horse was not lost. It was carried in its body and movements and instincts. It was a hidden story waiting to be discovered. She continued to explore trails and practiced gentle exercises. The horse adapted perfectly to each change. It was aware of obstacles and guided her through safely. Showed patience and intelligence at every step. The quiet rides brought reflection and understanding. She realized that the horse had been waiting for the right rider, someone to notice without forcing skill, someone to respect awareness and intelligence. With each passing day, she learned more about patience, trust, and observation. The horse became a teacher as much as a companion. It showed the beauty of discipline without demand. The horse moved with confidence and demonstrated precision and intelligence. Revealed the hidden past through small, deliberate actions. She began to see the importance of respecting the skills and awareness of the horse. It had survived changes, and loss it had maintained its abilities and balance. She felt a deep sense of gratitude and responsibility to care for the horse with understanding, too. Respect its past and trust its instincts. Ride was a lesson in connection, observation, and awareness. The horse guided her in silence. While protecting and teaching, she reflected on the hidden life of the horse, the quiet discipline and awareness. Lessons of patience and trust, the subtle signs of its past life. She knew the horse was extraordinary. Its calm exterior had hidden years of skill. Its movements and awareness were a gift waiting to be discovered, and she felt honored to be the one to uncover that. Had come to fully appreciate the horse and its hidden talents. Fairy Ride showed her something new. Every step revealed awareness and discipline she had not noticed before. She realized that she had been given a gift not only of companionship but of lessons in patience, trust, and observation. One morning she decided to take the horse on a long trail that had been used for training long ago. The path was challenging, with uneven ground, steep inclines, narrow spaces, and hidden obstacles. She trusted the horse completely. She allowed it to guide her movements and decisions. They moved along the trail. The horse demonstrated skill and confidence. It adjusted its steps to avoid rocks, roots, and small dips. It shifted weight smoothly to maintain balance. It moved in a way that showed experience and awareness far beyond ordinary trail riding. She felt a deep sense of connection. Each movement was a conversation without words. Each pause a moment of understanding. Each adjustment a silent lesson. The horse guided her carefully through tricky parts. It waited when necessary and moved forward when it sensed safety. Its awareness extended beyond the trail to sounds, birds, and small animals in the surrounding trees. She reflected on all the lessons it had taught: patience and waiting, trust, an instinct observation of small details, the calmness that could guide and protect during the journey. She realized that she had grown as a rider. She had learned to listen to the horse without forcing it. She had learned to notice subtle movements and changes. She had learned to communicate silently. The horse continued to reveal more of its past training, its ability to adjust to challenges and respond to cues without fear or hesitation. Intelligence and skill were evident in every step. At the top of the trail, they stopped to rest. She patted the horse and felt its steady breathing. Calmness of the horse gave her a sense of peace she had not known before. It was more than a companion, it was a teacher. As they rode back down the trail, the horse navigated each obstacle with precision. It anticipated her movements and guided her safely. Its hidden talents had become clear through practice and trust. When they returned to the stable, she took time to reflect. She understood that this horse had been trained and experienced in ways she could not fully see. Its calm exterior had been hiding years of skill and awareness. She decided to continue exploring trails and gentle training, not to push the horse but to respect and appreciate its hidden abilities. Each ride became a quiet dance of trust, observation, and learning. She began to share moments with friends who understood horse. She spoke about the calmness, awareness, and trust. They were amazed at the bond and the skill. She smiled quietly, knowing the horse had chosen her to notice and respect its hidden life. Keen the evenings she would brush and care for the horse. It stood calmly alert yet relaxed. She felt gratitude for its patience and trust. Each touch and movement was part of a silent understanding. Over time, the horse became more confident in showing small skills. It adjusted to new challenges. Easily it responded to subtle cues from her body without hesitation. She realized that the horse had taught her more than riding. It had taught her about patience, observation, trust, respect for hidden talents, and quiet strength. Every day brought small discoveries: how it balanced on uneven ground, how it moved around other horses, how it responded to subtle shifts in her weight, how it noticed small sounds and movements before she could. She felt honored to care for a horse with such a hidden past. She understood the responsibility to respect its awareness and skill, to maintain trust and calm guidance. She reflected on the journey they had taken together, from a quiet trail ride to discovering hidden talent, from simple companionship to mutual understanding, from ordinary expectations to extraordinary connection. The horse continued to guide her, not with commands, but with silent knowledge. Its calm awareness taught her to move and think carefully, to notice small details and trust instincts. She knew she had been given more than a horse. She had been given a partner, and a teacher one, who had shown patience, awareness, and trust without ever demanding. On every trail they took together, she felt the lessons grow. She
Up.
observed the horse closely and moved in harmony. Each ride was a new opportunity to learn and connect. The horse never hurried and never demanded. It showed strength and intelligence through every movement. Calm presence became a foundation for trust and understanding. She thought about the horses hidden past the years of training and discipline that had been quietly maintained, the experiences that shaped awareness and skilled, the patience and intelligence that had waited for recognition. She realized that the horse had chosen her to notice the hidden life, to appreciate the calm strength, to share the lessons it offered every day. She felt grateful for the quiet moments, the long rides, the subtle lessons, for the trust and bond that had grown between them. The horse had transformed her understanding of riding and connection. It had shown that hidden skills and awareness could exist quietly until noticed. It had taught patience, trust, observation, and respect as the sun set each day. She led the horse to the stable. It stood calmly, breathing slowly and steadily. She patted its neck and felt a quiet sense of fulfillment. She knew that together they had discovered something rare, a connection beyond words, a bond built on trust, awareness, and shared experience, a hidden story finally revealed and honored. Horse was no longer just a trail companion. It was a teacher, a guide, and a partner. Its hidden past had become a present gift hand. She had become a rider who could see and respect it. Together they continued to explore trails, learn from each other, and move in harmony. Every ride was a lesson in patience, observation, and trust. Every day revealed more of the quiet skill and awareness the horse had carried. She had entered the journey seeking calm. She found something extraordinary, a horse with hidden strength and intelligence, and a silent story waiting to be seen. Although she thought their journey had reached its peak, new experiences awaited them each day. The horse continued to reveal hidden talents and instincts that seemed to appear when least expected. She had grown confident in her riding and in understanding the horse, yet each ride offered surprises. In a quiet morning, she decided to explore a trail that wound through dense forests and open fields. The ground was uneven, roots and rocks scattered across the path. She allowed the horse to take the lead, trusting its instincts. As they moved along the trail, she noticed the horse adjusting each step with precise awareness. It lifted feet carefully over hidden stones, shifted weight on uneven ground, and navigated narrow spaces effortlessly. When birds or small animals appeared nearby, it paused, then continued calmly. She realized that the horse not only responded to her movements but anticipated changes in the environment. It seemed to read the world around it and guide her safely through unseen hazards. During the ride, she reflected on how much she had learned. Patience, observation, trust, and silent communication had become natural to her. She understood the horse without words, and it understood her. The forest trail presented new challenges. Fallen trees stretched across the path, and the ground beneath it was slippery from mourning. She expected hesitation, yet the horse carefully stepped over each obstacle. Its movements were smooth, controlled, and confident. She felt a deep sense of admiration. The horse had hidden strength and skill that went beyond what she could imagine. She realized it had been waiting for someone to notice and respect its abilities. As they continued, she began to experiment with gentle cues and subtle shifts in weight. The horse responded quickly and accurately. It was clear that its intelligence and training allowed it to adapt easily. The bond between them strengthened with every step. The horse guided her silently, and she learned to trust instinct over conscious thought. Each ride became a lesson in harmony and awareness. At one point, they reached a narrow ridge with a steep drop on one side. Other horses might have hesitated or panicked. This horse moved carefully and adjusted to maintain balance. It waited for her to find confidence and then continued forward. She understood that trust had been built gradually. The horse had taught her to move in sync with its instinct, to listen to subtle signs and respond without forcing action. After descending the ridge, they reached an open meadow. The horse slowed and walked with gentle confidence. It was aware of distant sounds and movements, yet remained calm. She felt a sense of peace in the quiet connection they shared. Over The next weeks, she noticed small details that revealed more about the horse's past, the way it shifted weight before jumps, the precise movements around other horses, and the calm observation of its surroundings all hinted at advanced training. She began keeping notes in a small journal, not about performance, but about awareness and communication. She wrote down moments when the horse anticipated movements or responded before she acted. Each entry reinforced the depth of its hidden skills. Visitors occasionally came to see her ride. They watched the horse navigate obstacles and remain calm under pressure. They were impressed, yet she knew the horse was not performing for attention. It was simply being itself. Evan in the stable, the horse exhibited careful awareness. It adjusted movements around others, observed quietly, and never pushed or rushed. The calm intelligence was evident in every action. She experimented with small challenges along trails, along narrow paths and uneven terrain. The horse navigated each with balance and precision. It adapted to subtle cues from her and seemed to enjoy the interaction. At times she would dismount and walk beside it. The horse stayed close, attentive, yet relaxed. It adjusted pace perfectly and observed surroundings carefully. It communicated without words and guided her silently. She noticed how much she had grown in patience and observation. Riding and caring for the horse had taught her to notice small changes and respond thoughtfully. She had learned to trust instincts and communicate without speaking. One particular ride, a sudden gust of wind, caused branches to sway. The horse adjusted balance immediately and waited for her guidance. It had anticipated movement and responded without hesitation. She felt gratitude for its protective awareness. Forest trails continued to present surprises, hidden roots, rocks, and uneven terrain. Horse navigated each challenge effortlessly. Its movements were smooth, confident, and controlled. Cheese trusted instinctively and moved in harmony. Over time, she explored new routes. The horse adapted easily to changes and unfamiliar challenges. It responded to subtle shifts and small cues. It had hidden skills waiting to be discovered at every step. She observed how it interacted with other horses along the trails. It maintained calm awareness and adjusted to their movements. It never competed or forced interactions. It showed patience and intelligence at every turn. Evening after rides, she would groom and care for the horse. It stood quietly, breathing slowly and steadily. Its calm presence reinforced the lessons of patience, observation, and trust. She realized the horse had chosen her to notice its hidden life, to respect its skills and intelligence, to share quiet moments and discover lessons in harmony. In awareness, every ride became an opportunity to learn and connect. She explored trails, gently guided the horse with subtle movements, and observed its reactions carefully. The horse continued to reveal hidden skills in balance, awareness, and anticipation. Moved confidently and calmly through obstacles and challenging terrain, she learned to trust and move as one with Aichi. Reflected on the extraordinary nature of the horse. Its calm exterior had hidden a life of discipline and awareness. Its intelligence and skill were gifts that had waited for recognition. Together, they continued their journey each day, bringing lessons in patience, observation, and silent communication. The horse guided her with care and taught her to respond thoughtfully and trust instinct. She felt honored to be the one to uncover the hidden story, to experience the quiet strength and intelligence, to move in harmony with a partner who had waited for understanding. Every trail ride was a new lesson. Every obstacle navigated a demonstration of hidden skill. Every moment shared a reminder of trust and connection. She had entered the journey seeking a calm companion. She found a teacher, a guide, and a partner with a hidden story revealed through patience, awareness, and mutual respect. The days were long and quiet, yet full of discovery as she continued her rides with the horse. Every morning the sun rose over the fields, painting soft colors on the trails, and she felt a deep sense of anticipation. The horse moved calmly beside her, adjusting its pace with subtle awareness of every sound, movement, and change in terrain. Had grown to trust it completely, and every ride was a journey into understanding, patience, observation, and connection. They began by exploring familiar trails. Again, the paths they had taken before now seemed full of hidden lessons. Rocks and routes that once seemed ordinary now demanded attention and careful navigation. The horse lifted its feet with precise awareness and adjusted posture for every incline, decline. and uneven patch. Its movements were deliberate yet fluidous. The weeks passed. She experimented with new trails that wound through dense forests, open fields, and small streams. Each trail brought fresh challenges: slippery stones on creek crossings, narrow paths with steep edges, fallen branches, and unpredictable sounds from wildlife. The horse adapted effortlessly, moving with intelligence and balance. Every step showed awareness of both her presence and the environment. She began to notice more subtle responses in the horse: the way it shifted weight before taking a step, the way it anticipated changes in the trail, the way it maintained calm while alert to surrounding sounds. Small adjustments that would escape ordinary observation revealed the depth of skill it possessed. One morning, they approached a path lined with thick trees and low-hanging branches. The trail narrowed suddenly and the ground became uneven. She expected hesitation or nervousness. Instead, the horse moved with confidence, navigating the narrow corridor carefully and guiding her without command. Paused when a branch dipped near her shoulder and shifted slightly to protect her. She felt a deep sense of gratitude and admiration. The horse had been trained and disciplined long before it came to her, yet it now exercised intelligence and choices. Moved not because it was forced, but because it had learned to observe, assess, and act. During these rides, she began to notice small instincts that were extraordinary. The horse sensed subtle changes in the weather, adjusting gait and steps before rain arrived or before the wind shifted. It responded to distant sounds she could barely hear, anticipating movement in wildlife or the presence of other horses. Each ride felt like a silent lesson in awareness and anticipation. She experimented with gentle exercises along the trails: low logs, small jumps, and narrow paths. The horse approached each challenge carefully and without hesitation, adjusting to her shifts in weight and subtle cues. She felt the connection grow stronger with each successful navigation. In the afternoon, she would return to the stable and observe the horse. Its interactions with other horses were equally precise, moved patiently, avoiding conflict, and maintained awareness of each movement. It was calm yet intelligent. Visitors occasionally came to see her ride. They watched in awe as the horse adjusted to obstacles, navigated uneven terrain, and maintained perfect balance. They asked questions and marveled at its calm demeanor and instinctive skill. She simply smiled, knowing the horse was not performing for anyone. It was being itself. Over time, she began to notice how much she had grown as a rider. Her patience and observation had increased. She had learned to trust instincts and communicate through subtle shifts and gestures. She had learned to respond thoughtfully without forcing action. On one particular ride, the trail led to a small creek with slippery rocks and fast-moving water. Other horses she had ridden in the past would hesitate or stumble. This horse moved, carefully adjusting each step for balance and security. It waited for her to gain confidence and then crossed together smoothly. She began keeping a detailed journal, not about performance, but about lessons learned from the horse. Every day revealed moments of awareness, anticipation, and silent communication. The horse was teaching her patience, trust, observation, and respect in ways she had never experienced. This autumn approached. The trails became softer with fallen leaves, and the air turned crisp. The horse adjusted easily to the changing terrain. It responded to sounds of falling branches, rustling leaves, and distant wildlife without panic. Its calm intelligence guided her through paths that could have been challenging. During this time, she began to imagine the horse's past life more clearly, the hidden training, the precise awareness, the calm confidence. It was evident the horse had once been trained for advanced work, possibly for competition or specialized tasks. The skills had not been lost. They had been dormant, waiting for the right person to notice. She started to introduce minor challenges during rides: small logs, low branches, uneven paths, and sudden changes in direction. The horse navigated every challenge, perfectly adjusting to each subtle cue she gave. Its reactions were precise, deliberate, and confident. Sure realized the horse was teaching without speaking. It had taught her to trust intuition, to observe without judgment, to respect hidden skills, and to respond calmly to uncertainty. Each ride was a living lesson in communication, awareness, and partnership. One day, while riding along a narrow cliff trail, she noticed the horse pause and shift weight carefully. She looked ahead and saw a loose stone underfoot. Before she could react, the horse adjusted stance and guided her safely past the hazard. She felt a wave of gratitude and amazement. Was teaching vigilance and care. The bond between them grew stronger each day. The horse understood her subtle shifts and intentions, and she learned to read its body language and responses. They moved in harmony, almost as if anticipating each other's next step. Visitors to the farm were often astonished at the horse's calm intelligence. It reacted to changes in terrain, wildlife, and weather with precision. It maintained awareness of all surroundings, while remaining calm and attentive. At the stable, the horse remained alert yet relaxed. It adjusted movements around other horses, maintained balance, observed quietly. Its presence reminded her of the lessons learned on trails. She started experimenting with longer rides, exploring more challenging and unfamiliar routes. The horse adapted with ease, demonstrating awareness and skill that seemed almost instinctual. It anticipated challenges and guided her safely through every obstacle. One afternoon, they came across a fallen tree. Across the path, the ground around it was uneven and slippery. The horse stopped, assessed the situation, and guided her carefully over the obstacle. Its calm intelligence kept both safe and confident. She began to notice the horse responding to weather changes even before she could. It shifted gait and steps with subtle awareness of rain, wind, and temperature. Its instincts and training were deeply ingrained. Yet adaptably, each evening after rides, she groomed the horse carefully. It stood calmly, breathing slowly and steadily. She felt gratitude for its patience, trust, and guidance. Every touch reinforced the bond they had built. The horse continued to reveal hidden talents, anticipating changes in terrain, wildlife, and her movements. It had extraordinary awareness, balance, and instinctive intelligence. Every ride brought new lessons in patience, observation, trust, and silent communication. During winter, trails became challenging with wet leaves, mud, and icy patches. The horse adapted effortlessly, showing instinctive balance and careful movement. It guided her through difficult areas with calm precision. She learned to respond without forcing movement. Trusting its experience, she began to explore creative exercises to test awareness and trust narrow paths. Small jumps, uneven terrain, and sudden changes in direction. The horse navigated every scenario with intelligence and poise, reinforcing her learning. Visitors noticed her bond with the horse. They saw calm guidance, anticipation, and trust in every movement. They admired the silent communication and intuitive connection. She kept journaling every experience, noting how the horse communicated, taught, and guided without words. The lessons in trust, patience, observation, and respect were profound. Each ride strengthened the bond, revealed hidden talents, and deepened understanding. As the season progressed, she realized how much she had grown as a rider. She trusted instincts, communicated through subtle movements, and responded calmly to challenges. She had learned to observe, anticipate, and respect. Skills and awareness. The horse had become more than a companion. It was a teacher, guide, and partner. Its calm intelligence, hidden skills, and trust had transformed her understanding of riding, connection, and life. Together, they continued exploring, learning, and moving in harmony. Every ride brought new experiences, challenges, and lessons. The horse revealed its hidden abilities gradually, showing awareness, balance, an instinctive skill. She felt honored to uncover its story and be part of its journey. The horse had waited for someone to notice, respect, and trust its abilities. It had chosen her. And through each ride, lesson, and obstacle, they shared a silent understanding, connection, and profound bond. Each trail, obstacle, and quiet moment became part of their shared story. The horse had transformed ordinary rides into extraordinary lessons in patience, trust, observation, and harmony. They moved as one, learning from each other, discovering hidden talents and wisdom. In every step, the journey continued without end. Each day, revealing new challenges, awareness, and connection. The horse remained calm, intelligent, and guiding. She remained observant, patient, and trusting together they explored the trails, shared silent lessons, and grew stronger in their bond. The horse was more than a trail companion, it was a teacher, a guide, a partner, and a friend. Its hidden past and remarkable intelligence had been revealed gradually. Offering lessons beyond riding, every ride became a journey of awareness, trust, patience, and connection. Every moment was a silent conversation between horse and rider. The horse had chosen wisely, and she had learned to see, respect, and respond to its extraordinary abilities. Their story was one of discovery, patience, and the quiet revelation of hidden skill. It was a story of harmony, trust, and the extraordinary bond between human and horse, revealed slowly through observation, understanding, and shared experience.